Alright, so a few weeks ago I did a bunch of healing videos and try to, help you guys just by explaining, what kind of returns you can expect from different healing stats. And basically, what actually works with what pieces and, how you can get the most benefit from the fewest pieces. And a few days ago I also released a DPS healing hybrid build. Now it was more for team heals. It basically, I didn't include any incoming and just went on repair skills and skill tier alone, because obviously incoming only affects you, and if you're trying to heal your team, it's not really going to do anything for you. But if you're solo, or if you play maybe just twosies, having incoming, especially if you're a tanky build, is definitely beneficial, because obviously if you're a tank and you have incoming, then your team healer can actually heal you, and that's that's a good benefit. But if you get into a situation where no one wants to be a healer, which I find quite often, you kind of need to be self-sufficient in that aspect. So this build is pretty much a true hybrid, I would say. It's not just damage and just healing. It's actually a little bit armor, a little bit damage, and a little bit of healing, which I think, in the current state of the game, having a very true, matter-of-fact actual hybrid is not really the best build to use. In most content, at least. Especially on like hardcore or legendary, having a true hybrid build, it's a little iffy. You gotta have those role-based, mechanics for everyone. But let's just get into the build so I can pretty much show you what I'm talking about, in case you're, maybe you're a little bit confused, or you just don't care. You just want to see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's do that here. So I am using the technician specialization, and I've decided that I wanted to actually go with the baker's dozen for obvious reasons, but I really wanted to play around with something else, so I went with the chameleon for this specific build. But you could also choose just as well to use one of the lesser exotics like the Sweet Dreams or even Lady Death. Those actually work pretty well with this kind of build. Because you generally want to be a little bit up close, you want to be in front of the action, so having these short range weapons isn't really that bad in terms of this build. Now it's still probably more of a challenge speedrun type build rather than heroic speedrun. But if you're just playing for fun or playing for enjoyment, hey, you might actually like this type of setup. Now my sidearm has reformation on it, and that's pretty simple to understand. Obviously I'm just trying to increase my healing, right? If I need it, I can use it. Or you can just get rid of the M1A, you can get rid of your baker's dozen, put a reformation weapon on there. You could also just get rid of the chameleon or your exotic, whatever, and just put reformation on that. This is basically the same principle. You're not really pushing out that much damage, so having a talent really isn't going to help you all that much. Alright, and as you can see here on my mask, I am using a 2-piece 511, and that gives me the health plus the 15% incoming repair. I have max armor, max repair skills, max crit chance, and I have an incoming repairs mod. Not the best, but good enough for this purpose. My backpack, another piece of 511, it's got repair skills, skill haste, incoming repair, and it's got shock and awe. And obviously I'm pretty sure if you know the build, or if you see the build, you can understand why I'm using shock and awe. And that gives me that 20% repair basically for all my skills. But I've also combined that with my chest piece, which is a Richter Kaiser, and that gives me the 15% incoming repair. It's got skill tier, crit damage, headshot damage, incoming repair, but I put kinetic momentum on it. So basically whenever I'm not having a skill on cooldown and I'm in combat, I'm building stacks. And for healing, if I have 2 skills at full stacks, I'm getting 60% skill repair. So 2 stacks at 15 each for 2%, that's 60% total skill repair. So you can see with kinetic momentum and shock and awe, I'm getting 80%, and then if I throw in reformation on there, that's another 30%. So it's a pretty good bonus. Alright, for my gloves, I am using Cheska Veroba. Crit chance, obviously, it's got 15% weapon damage, skill haste, and repair skills. Now, obviously, if I was going for a fully optimized damage build, I'd probably be using the contractor's gloves. For my knee pads, I'm using the Grupo Sombra. You can see crit damage, got weapon damage, crit chance, repair skills, and of course, I'd probably go with Fox's Prayer if I was going for an optimal damage build. And this is mostly a PVE build, so don't give me crap about it, because I did talk shit about the Imperial Dynasty in PvP. But the rolls aren't too bad, 9.3 and 9.7. And pretty much the main reason I'm actually using this is just to proc shock and awe. I'm not really going for a status effect build, but this basically gives me a guaranteed shock and awe proc every 20 seconds. So that basically just pairs up perfectly. If I'm in combat, I get shock and awe active, and my healing's increased by 20%. So win-win. All right, so as you can see here, with all my mods, I do have 81.4% incoming repair. Now, the thing to note is this is not an optimal build. This is not like the perfect setup that you'd want. I do great healing to myself, but honestly, it's probably a bit too much. I mean, just for the lack of damage that I have. Ideally, the perfect preference you'd probably want if you want a slight healing, a lot of damage type build, would be having 2 skill tier, 2 repair skills, and then 2 incoming repair. Now you can have more than that, obviously. You could, go with 3, 3, and 3, and I would definitely suggest using the technician specialization for that, just because you want to have as many red rolls as you can get, and having that extra skill tier roll on your build might be a little bit weak. The other option I could see being beneficial with this type of build, since you are using the shield and being up close with your weapons, you could definitely get away with using the firewall specialization. And obviously, whenever you're within, I think, 10 meters, you get that additional damage to targets from the shield buff or whatever. So that could definitely be a handy thing. And then, of course, if you've actually got a competent team and they stay behind you, and you're not swinging your shield around left and right all over the place, just actually giving your team the ability to actually use your shield buff, then of course the firewall specialization can come in pretty handy, especially if you're being able to actually heal yourself and actually tank some damage. But alright, looking at the skills real quick, you can see that on my Crusader I do have a 15-second cooldown, not too bad. My health for that shield is actually at 4 million, so that's pretty good. And then you can see here on my hive, we got a 3-second refill speed. I've got 26 charges, so that's pretty good. And I am healing for 180k per tick. Now that's just the base healing. That's without the buffs and everything like that. So this healing can get pretty strong. It's not as strong as the previous hybrid build that I made, because that one is fully invested into repair skills, and this one does not heal your allies for as much. That other DPS healing hybrid I did is definitely more beneficial to your allies than to you. This one is probably more beneficial to you than your allies, because this one will heal almost 1 million armor in 2 ticks. So that's about 500k armor. So it's pretty good when it's fully buffed. So now my overall opinion is that some of these hybrid builds they don't work as well as you probably want them to, and this build does suffer from a lack of damage. I mean, it's got some tankiness, it's got some good healing, but you can definitely feel it when you get into a 4-man heroic that you're just not putting out the damage that you probably want to put out. So while I will say that this build does have some potential to it, it's not exactly what I would want to use on a regular basis. Now, like I said, if you put on Fox's Prayer, if you put on the Contractor's Gloves, you could definitely get some more returns on this type of build. And like I said, you don't need all that incoming. I think you could probably remove, easily 2 of those slots of incoming repair and still have a very sustainable build. And then you could probably just put on the Coyote's Mask, get that extra crit chance or crit damage on there, and that would definitely help, especially if you're up close with an SMG, right? And again, you might want to try firewall specialization, especially if you have a team that can actually stay behind you and get that buff from your shield. They'll be putting out more damage, you'll be doing more damage, you'll be able to just constantly keep pushing up. And then if you're constantly dropping and picking up your hive, you can keep them healed, you can keep yourself healed. I mean, you can just do a pretty good job of plowing through things, especially on like challenging content. I mean, even if you're doing, if you are one of those people who's having trouble with challenging, and you're mostly doing hard content, I mean, this build would be pretty good for you. I mean, this build would be great for you. But that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.